to another episode of Easy Does It, where we review and react to YouTube channels and sometimes do daily vlogs. Now, this week we're going to take a look at a channel called They Will Kill You, based in the US, and has had this channel since May of 2014. He's doing fairly well. He's got over 2 million subscribers, 2.46. So he's not doing bad at all. Now, the voice you hear on the channel is not the guy who does the channel. The guy who does the channel is some Indian dude, and if you go to his home channel, when you first go there, you'll see him talking and stuff. It's not him. He's paid somebody to voice over on his channel. But we're going to take a look at one of his latest ones. I believe it's called When Getting Rid of Evidence Goes Wrong. He always titles, something goes wrong. But we're going to take a look at this and see if it's any good.
Virginia teenager Lauren Carissa Smith was pulled over by the Stafford County Sheriff's Office in December of 2016. While traveling on US Route 1, Smith had reportedly failed to obey a highway sign. The deputy conducting the traffic stop noticed a marijuana grinder and a plastic bag with a green leaky substance in the cup holder between the two front seats of Smith's vehicle. The deputy would report that Smith tried to eat the marijuana in order to get rid of the evidence, but her efforts ultimately proved fruitless.
Yeah, that doesn't usually work
and
too
vehicle,
well.
Retrieving a smoking device, pills, and capsules with white powder, identified as Schedule 2 and 4 narcotics. In addition to traffic infraction, the 19-year-old was charged with possession of controlled substances, possession of marijuana, and obstructing justice.
No.
Number 6. Amanda Perry. 27-year-old North Carolina woman Laura Ackerson was last seen alive on July the 13th of 2011 in Raleigh. 11 days later, her butchered remains were found in Oyster Creek, roughly 60 miles from Houston, Texas. Ackerson had been involved in a long-running custody dispute with her ex-boyfriend, Grant Hayes. On July the 13th, the woman told an acquaintance that she was heading to her ex's Raleigh apartment to pick up their sons. When Ackerson went missing, the acquaintance alerted the authorities. Hayes was at the time married to a woman named Amanda Perry. An investigation would reveal that they worked together to strangle Ackerson to death when she went to their home. They then dismembered the body with a power saw and stored the remains in a cooler. The couple tried to dissolve them with muriatic acid, but it didn't work, so they resorted to dumping them in a creek near the home of Perry's sister, hoping they would be eaten by alligators. The couple, who had a daughter together, were arrested on July the 25th of 2011 and separated shortly thereafter. Hayes was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Perry, who was in her late 30s at the time of the murder, was tried separately.
Some people
her
pull
defense
some
maintained that she was
hellacious
coerced
shit
into helping her husband dispose of Ackerson's remains and that she played no part in the killing. Perry was ultimately convicted on the lesser charges of second-degree murder in North Carolina and given a 13 to 16-year prison sentence. Hayes wasn't prosecuted for disposing of Ackerson's body, and investigators determined that it was Perry who'd proposed trying to feed the remains to alligators. It resulted in further charges and prison time from Texas authorities. In the summer of 2018, the Fort Bend County District Attorney's Office announced that 20 years were added to Perry's sentence for tampering with evidence of a human corpse. Number 5. Zipporah Abraham.
Go figure.
On a November morning in 2023,
Zipporah
Abraham was detained by loss
fucking
prevention
name.
officers at a Walmart supercenter in North Miami Beach. The 38-year-old had reportedly tried using counterfeit bills to complete a large purchase. Abraham had a history of theft-related arrests in Miami-Dade County, and the officers recognized her from CCTV footage. During the same Walmart incident, she also filled a storage bin with items totaling $865.
So is that Walmart?
Paying for them. As a Miami-Dade Police Department officer carried out the arrest, Abraham was reported to have put $200 worth of counterfeit bills in her mouth and tried swallowing them. Whether she was successful remained unclear, but the attempt took place in full view of law enforcement. The woman was booked at the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center on a $10,000 bond after being charged with grand theft and uttering forged bills. Number 4. Kaylee Lynch Firicano. On Easter Sunday, April the 4th of 2021, the family of North Carolina State University student Christina Matos asked law enforcement to perform a welfare check at her Raleigh apartment near the university's campus. After not hearing from her for several days, when officers went to the address, they found 20-year-old Matos's brutalized, lifeless body. An autopsy would reveal that she'd been stabbed 16 times in the neck and that she had 31 cuts to her hands, likely sustained as she struggled to fend off her killer. Matos's husband, Eric Gail Hernandez Mendez, was arrested for the murder. The duo had gotten married less than a week before the incident, but the union was not one of a romantic nature. The man was in the U.S. illegally and had reportedly offered the student $15,000 to marry him so that he could remain in the country. Roughly 2 years after the murder, Matos's former roommate, Kaylee Lynch Firicano, was arrested and charged with felony accessory after the fact murder and obstructing justice. The specifics of her involvement remained unclear, but according to court documents, she was accused of helping Hernandez Mendez avoid arrest by destroying, disposing, and deleting evidence and providing false information to law enforcement officers to deceive and delay their investigation. She didn't testify at Hernandez Mendez's murder trial. Throughout his legal proceedings, the man maintained his innocence, claiming that he'd witnessed Lynch Firicano fatally stabbed Matos in the neck. He stated that he agreed to help clean up and conceal the murder, fearing that the roommate would harm his family. The jury, however, concluded that Lynch Firicano had played no part in the actual killing, and that Hernandez Mendez had been the sole perpetrator. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in the spring of 2024. At the time, Lynch Firicano remained on house arrest and awaited her own day in court. Number 3. Susan Monica. Transgender
There's
woman
some
Susan
real
Monica,
weirdos
born
out
Stephen
there.
Buchanan, served in the U.S.
Crazy
Navy during the
motherfuckers.
Vietnam War. In the aftermath, she began an engineering career, ran a
Just
construction
never know.
business, and bought a 20-acre farm in rural Wimmer, Oregon. 2 handymen successively disappeared after being hired to do work at Monica's farm. 59-year-old Stephen Delacino vanished under mysterious circumstances in 2012.
Now, with a lot of these list channels,
went missing in September of 2013.
They sometimes get facts and stuff wrong.
Monica told him that he'd quit and found work elsewhere. The family discovered that his tools and some of his clothes were still in a trailer at the farm while his dog was
everyone's heard of the widow at Phil.
January the 10th of 2014.
Wow.
After it emerged that the previous month, Monica
Feeds
had
the
used
pigs
Amy's
with
food stamps at a Walmart.
her
Cops
husband,
found the
dead
property in
husband
an
that she
appalling
killed.
state, as it was filled with piles of garbage, rotting food, animal parts, and industrial waste.
I wonder where
Law
that story
enforcement initially
originated.
intended to
Surely
charge
it
Monica
wasn't
with
this
fraud,
one.
but the case took a drastic turn
I
when
don't
they came
know.
upon a severed human leg on the property. The find
Maybe-
prompted an
maybe-
extensive search
it
was
might be
produced.
this one.
Further human
Everyone's
remains
heard this
subsequently
kind of
confirmed
story.
as belonging to Delacino and Haney.
Where the
Both had been
woman
shot
feeds
dead, dismembered, and eaten by pigs.
the wife
The animals had reportedly
feeds
been
the
conditioned to have
dead
a
husband that
particular
she killed
appetite
to
for
the
meat.
pigs.
A former farm resident reported he'd witnessed Monica feed deceased house pets and livestock to the pigs on different occasions. Monica was arrested and provided
she was
explanations of
feeding
how
everything to
Delacino
him.
and Haney had died, but the
Even the
authorities found her
pets and
stories
shit.
to lack credibility. She said that Delacino had tried to
Fucking
steal one of her
nut job.
guns and that she'd shot him in self-defense.
But
during
yeah, a
a
lot of these
confrontation
list
over a
channels,
pet.
they'll get the
Monica claimed
facts
that she'd
wrong,
buried
so you
him
gotta
after
be
finding her
careful.
pigs eating his
Not all
remains.
the time,
woman
but a
told
lot of
the
times.
police that Haney had
I've
disappeared from the farm in the summer
seen
of
it busted
2013.
for
Then in
getting
the
certain
fall, she
facts wrong.
supposedly found her pigs.
Oh, now
engaged
she's
in
a
feeding
transgender.
frenzy
What the
on
fuck ever.
disemboweled handyman. Monica
Jesus.
reported that she shot Haney
That's
to
so
put him out of
dumb.
his misery. She offered no explanation for why she'd chopped up the 2 men, failed to contact the police, or why some of Haney's remains were found in plastic bags. In her
oh, so she just didn't chop up the husband. She chopped up
Henderson, the case's lead
one of the farm hands.
Asked Monica if there were other dead bodies on the property. Henderson later stated, "She told me that if she told me about the 17 others, that she would spend the rest of her life in jail." At some point in her videotaped interrogation, Monica was recorded saying, "I do not value human life very much. The only thing wrong with this planet is there's
17. No, she did it to she claims she did it to 17 others. What the?
Was presented as evidence in court. During her trial,
been getting away with it for that long.
Ranging from erratic to damning. It wasn't clear if she transitioned at the time, but she appeared in court donning a variety of wigs, a display which her own defense team described as odd. In spite of having legal representation, she chose to cross-examine.
So this wasn't a woman, it was a man.
Herself. Addressing the jury, Monica loudly proclaimed that she would like to demonstrate how
the one that was doing the killing wasn't a woman,
seconds, then put her hands together and carried out the demonstration. Additionally, a cellmate testified that Monica had signed a birthday card from the sweetest murderer in Jackson County. The trial only lasted 6 days before Monica was convicted on 2 counts of murder, abuse of a corpse, and identity theft. In April of 2015, she was sentenced to 2 consecutive 25-year sentences. Judge Tim Barnack called her a cold-blooded killer, adding, "I don't know how else I can put it. You valued
obviously BS. They can't do it. It's a man."
Today's topic was requested by the No One and Scrappy Doo 7887.
Apparently he's the one that was killing everybody. That's crazy. 17 people. Fed them to the pigs.
Mary Ann DeMetro.
That's nuts.
On the morning of April the 30th of 2023,
that's a serial killer.
Mary Ann DeMetro called the San Antonio Police Department to report that her husband, 50-year-old Nick Hallam, has been shot dead. She also claimed to have escaped after the killer, 31-year-old Jose Carlos Alvarez, had held her against her will. The police went to the apartment unit in the 4000 block of Medical Drive and set up a perimeter. Alvarez surrendered peacefully after a brief negotiation, and inside the apartment, law enforcement found Hallam with a fatal gunshot wound to the neck. 30-year-old DeMetro initially told law enforcement that Alvarez had suddenly shot and killed her husband while the 3 of them were drinking alcohol at the address. The man then supposedly held her hostage. However, after Alvarez was arrested, he made several revelations. He claimed to have shot Hallam in self-defense and that for months he and DeMetro had been having an affair. The man added that she wasn't a victim and that she'd willingly helped him clean up the scene prior to alerting the authorities. Evidence seemed to support his version of events. Footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera captured him and DeMetro moving the body in the apartment complex's hallway. They then dragged it back inside.
See, women are ruthless. They lie out their ass.
And she was seen outside the home cleaning up blood by herself. Officers obtained a warrant for DeMetro on the felony charge of altering, destroying, or concealing a human corpse. She was arrested at the San Antonio International Airport as she
research have shown that women are actually more violent than men.
To the media.
They're more likely to commit murder,
we have another
kill people,
with wild cases.
And attack
Stick
people.
Around. Right after 4, when being a police informant
this
goes
has been
wrong.
Proven.
If you haven't seen that one yet. Number 1, Leslie Brock. In the summer of 2023, a Florida man resorted to extreme measures to try and avoid a drug possession charge. Deputies from the Flagler County Sheriff's Office pulled over Leslie Brock for a traffic infraction. When they approached his vehicle and shone a flashlight on the suspect, officers saw a torn open baggie in his lap and small white flakes, consistent with cocaine on his shorts. Brock initially refused to comply with orders to get out of the car, feigning ignorance and claiming that he'd done nothing wrong. As shown in body cam footage, he was removed from the vehicle, pushed against the side of it and handcuffed. Law enforcement quick tested the white powdery substance at the scene, and it was confirmed as cocaine. From their interactions with him and the evidence in his car, deputies determined that Brock had tried to dispose of the drugs by eating them. A mixture of spit and cocaine was found on the floor of the vehicle, and a streak of the same mixture was also embedded in Brock's beard. A deputy showed the man the torn baggie, but he still denied having drugs on him, prompting the cop to point out, "Right, 'cause you ate it all." Brock was taken to a hospital in Palm Spring to recover from the effects of ingesting the cocaine. He faced charges of resisting arrest, possession of cocaine, and tampering with evidence. Sheriff Rick Stalley released a statement saying this poison peddler could have died while attempting to conceal his narcotics by swallowing them, and urged other criminals not to follow his example if they got caught with illegal drugs. 30-year-old Mary Kavanaugh, a Michigan state representative, was arrested on a DWI on February the 13th of 2021, only 6 days after a DUI forgiveness law she co-sponsored went into effect. The arresting officer's body cam footage showed Kavanaugh driving erratically in a vehicle with 2 flat tires. She was pulled over and asked how much she'd had to drink, but she seemed confused by the officer's questions and was unable to stand on one leg. Her blood alcohol level was 0.17.
Another one that was
the law she'd introduced was enacted to expunge DUIs for first-time offenders, though the incident marked her second such arrest. Kavanaugh apologized for her behavior on social media, indicating she suffered from alcohol addiction. Number 9. Neville Smith. On April 23rd of 2017, a New York police officer drove down the Wick Expressway while intoxicated, leading to the death of 22-year-old Vanessa Raghubar. 32-year-old Neville Smith was driving his personal vehicle.
You can see it right there.
When he rear-ended Raghubar's
we just did
Honda,
number 1.
The latter's car spiraled out of control and crashed against a tree.
Now it's showing others.
She was rushed to the hospital along with her 21-year-old sister Maria and 20-year-old Justin Hariharan, where she remained in critical condition. She would ultimately succumb to her injuries the following day. Maria and Hariharan were treated for their injuries, then released. Smith wasn't severely harmed in the crash and was arraigned from his hospital bed. He faced charges of vehicular manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. In January of 2018, he resigned from the NYPD. Smith pleaded guilty as part of a deal with the prosecution, and in a ruling that bewildered many, was sentenced to just 4 months in jail plus 500 hours of community service and alcohol counseling. Number 8. Charlotte Nichols, David Linden, and Drew Hendry. 3 elected members of British Parliament identified as Charlotte Nichols, David Linden, and Drew Hendry were at the centre of a scandal on Armistice Day 2021 when they boarded a plane to Gibraltar while intoxicated. Linden and Hendry allegedly exhibited rude and belligerent behavior during the flight. Nichols, meanwhile, reportedly needed a wheelchair to disembark because of her intensely impaired state, though she claimed that her unsteadiness had been caused by her medication. According to eyewitnesses, all 3 of them had been drinking heavily on the night before the trip.
Not the same.
Linden and Hendry.
Okay, I'm going to stop because that has something to do with people being drunk now. That has nothing to do with getting rid of evidence or whatever. Anyways, that's the channel. They will kill you. Check it out if you want. He usually does like a variety of stuff. It's not always the same stuff. But I thank you for watching. Yeah, I mean, his channel's alright. Check it out. Everyone take care, and I'll see you on the next one.